Sure do. I have.
For we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence, on guerrillas by night instead of armies by day. On infiltration instead of invasion, on subversion instead of elections.
If I were the devil, I'd take from those who have and give to those who wanted until I had killed the incentive of the ambitious.
Violence and vandalism is being led by Antifa and other radical left-wing groups who are terrorizing the innocent, destroying jobs, hurting businesses, and burning down buildings. They are coming after me because I am fighting for you. That's what's happening.
Greetings, fellow thought criminals, and thank you for joining the insurrection. I'm Michael Lauber, and today I'm joined by two true heroes of the people, Enrique Tarrio and the Right Side Rebel. How are you both doing this morning?
I'm amazing. I had to hurry up, and Enrique, he's running slow today.
Oh, I'm running slow. Yeah. I'm running
slow.
It's your makeup. It takes 2 hours.
We'll just call it technical difficulties.
Yeah, the other day she's like, "Oh, I go, hey, we got to leave in 2 hours." She's like, "Oh, I'll be done by then." It was like 2.5 hours. We didn't even leave on time.
Asked how much time I had, and he said, "How much time do you want?"
So well, yes, we're having a great morning.
Ask that to a woman.
We're having a great morning.
Yeah. Yes, true. Well, not that our audience probably isn't already familiar with both of you, but Enrique, we'll start with you. If you could give them a quick rundown on who you are. And by the way, I didn't notice the shirt till we were doing we're already running the intro, but that's probably one of the best shirts I've ever seen. The Capitol Raiders.
I made this shirt back right after January 6th, as a matter of fact, and I started wearing it. And obviously at that time it was super duper controversial. I don't think it's as controversial now, but yeah, I said the same thing about your logo intro that's down there.
Oh, yeah. I had some help with that. Give a quick shout out. Well, when we designed this whole program, and I'll give you guys a little inside baseball for a second, but when Derek and I started this program, originally we were the Fiery but Mostly Peaceful Podcast. We decided that name was not a big enough thumb in the eye to the left and to the media, so we switched over to the Insurrection. We got a friend of mine that owns Incel Riot Studios, which is they make conservative board games, things like that. Same idea, designed to be a thumb in the eye of the left. If you guys want a really good game, I assisted with some of the cards for over there. Go pick up POZ, the Portland Occupied Zone. You play as Antifa and try to be the worst human being imaginable, but it's a lot of fun. And there's some great cards I put in there, like the Fentanyl Floyd card. If you assault the police and lose while you're on meth and fentanyl, you can gain extra points towards your victory. But it's a great game, lots of good humor, and kind of what we need to get back to, just sticking it to the left every chance we get. But he helped with the logo, so shout out to him. And Right Side Rebel, we could get your background real quick, then we're going to jump into things.
Oh, where do I start? I started in the movement, 7-8 months ago. Within 5 to 6 weeks, they tried to run me over. They maced me. They harassed me, assaulted me, doxed me. And then one of them made the mistake of trying to hit me. And so that video went viral.
Yeah. Well, we're going to talk a lot about that today too. Just the way these police have been weaponized in a lot of these blue cities. We've covered this over and over again. We're going to get into what happened with Katie Davenport again. And right now Nick Shirley. Potentially, he's in a Cuban jail right now. We haven't had an update since yesterday that I've seen. So I know he was on the run from the Gestapo down there. I did get an emergency video out from his hotel room, but I don't think it's been resolved. I haven't seen any update. I looked this morning. Hopefully, he's made it out of the country. I know he said he was only a mile from the Cuban embassy, and that was kind of like their from the U.S. embassy in Cuba. He said that was kind of their backup plan, was to try to just bolt and make a run for it there. But, again, this is a guy that's really been a thorn in the side of the media and the left, doing the job the mainstream media refuses to do, just like you are. And they want him out of the picture, especially after exposing all the leering centers in Minnesota and then all the fraud in California. I mean, they're literally there's a bill working its way through California right now to the Stop Nick Shirley Act, I think, to target reporters and fine and possibly imprison them for covering fraud. All on the grounds of some imaginary, it's racist or xenophobic or whatever to expose fraud. But these people are mentally deranged. They're not normal. But let's start with some good news for once, and then we'll get into the usual hellfire that descends upon us. Sometimes miracles come in too. Thank you, Lord, for this one. So both Jim and Joe Hoft are doing better. I don't believe either of them are out of the hospital yet. I don't have any updates on Rudy Giuliani other than he was moved out of critical condition to stable. But we had three Titans on in our movement all end up in the hospital over the weekend with various conditions. But good news is they're all seem to be doing better on a path to recovery. So hopefully they're out and swinging again here soon.
They live. I talked to both Jim and Joe yesterday. They both live in the same area. And I always text them some funny shit. And
I bet.
I'm like, hey, are the Hoffs okay? Because I've texted them a couple times throughout the week, but I put them in a group chat yesterday. And I'm like, hey, are the Hoffs okay? And they're like, yeah, we're doing good. Everything went well, whatever. And I'm like, dude, listen, whatever tap that both of you are drinking out of, just tell me which ones they are. Because the chances of both of them getting this sick, I'm gonna say sick, this sick is pretty low. And it's we also had Rudy Giuliani, also a South Florida resident. The same thing happened to him. So prayers are up for all three of them, because all three of them are heroes, American heroes.
Yeah. And they're all three people who have had a bullseye on their back for a while. I know the Hoff brothers, Gateway Pundit, still in lawsuits with Dominion voting systems and with many others. And again, this isn't about justice. It's not about anything they said or did. This is about crushing media opposition because they're very effective. They've been able to get these stories out with what happened in J6, get the truth out with voter fraud. We're going to cover a number of the stories at Gateway today, but we're going to get to a little more good news first. Then we're going to get to our normal vein here. Mega wave. Trump turning point backed candidates score major wins in Indiana GOP primaries. So, as you guys are familiar with, you've heard me railing on this for months now. The GOP in Indiana is filled with a bunch of yellow-bellied pickle-kissing losers that backed down when they had a chance to redistrict. The House in Indiana finally voted to push it forward. Then all these rhinos in their Senate froze it right there, refused to redistrict, even though we could have picked up two more seats in Indiana. I don't understand how our party is filled with this many undocumented Democrats. But they refused to act, they refused to do anything, and they paid the price in the elections yesterday. A bunch of them got primaried, and it looks like now that we will have the votes in the future once they're sat to redistrict Indiana. I hope they can find their testicles before that, because we really need to be redistricting everywhere we can right now. This is a battle for the soul of America right now. Whatever happens in this next election is going to determine our future. And I know a lot of people are very unhappy with all these rhinos on the right, the inaction from Congress, the lack of arrest from the DOJ, and a number of other things, the lack of justice. But it's hard to tell somebody to go out and vote for a rhino in the House when they've been so inept that they passed the Lake and Riley Act, the big beautiful bill. Otherwise, they basically sat there with their thumbs up their butts for the last year when we could have actually been accomplishing things, moving the ball forward, codifying a lot of these executive orders into law, having real investigations and hearings, and maybe push our agenda forward just a little. But with rhinos in the House and then losers like John Thune running the Senate, it's extremely frustrating right now, but this is a step in the right direction. They were able to remove some of these rhinos, and we'll have good, hopefully solid conservatives taking their place after the 2026 election cycle. So hopefully that's what happens, but I'm still not entirely confident. But we really do need to get the rest of these states all across the South and any other state with these gerrymandered race-based districts or any other Democrat districts that we can eliminate through procedures, through redistricting. We have to get behind that. We have to stack the deck in our favor. We have to use the power that people have given us. And that's been my big disappointment for the last 12 months is we just have so many wimps that will not fight, that instead back down and go, oh, we don't want to do that. The Democrats will get upset, and our friends in the media, they're going to write mean stories about us. I don't care about that. You're not there to win media approval. You're there to be a killer. You're there to take out the left and move our agenda forward. I don't care about being nice. The time for nice passed a long time ago. They will slaughter us any way they can, and they have made that widely known. This Graham, whatever his name is, this guy with the Totenkopf, the Nazi tattoo on his chest that's running up in Maine, he's literally said he wants to end the filibuster. He wants to impeach 2 Supreme Court justices. I wonder who those might be. And then they want to stack the court. They're telling us their plan and exactly what they're going to do. Our media is just so dishonest. They don't cover it. They don't pretend they pretend that is not what's being said on the campaign trail. So we got to fight. And guys, that's what we put you there for. Do it.
Coming from probably the best state in the union, not
Yeah.
probably the best state in the union, and a state that has radically changed from swing state to solid red to super majorities at the local level, and a House and Senate that actually passed redistricting very quickly,
Yeah.
and a governor that signed it the moment it went through the door. I don't even think it got to his desk before he signed it. It's a multifaceted approach that Florida took. And it takes a lot. People don't want to vote for rhinos, but also look, there's a lot of people that just don't run or don't know how to run too, because look, there was a lot of good candidates in Indiana and Ohio that I would have preferred. But they've never ran in their life. They didn't have a good fundraising team. So it's not just a good candidate. You need a good team. You need a good grassroots movement. And it's crazy to me that it's always the House of Lords, right? That gives you these issues. It's always the Senate, either at the state or federal level, that blocks your attempt. Like the House itself is supposed to be chaotic. Like it was designed to be chaotic. The Senate is supposed to be like the responsible people. It's very, very prestigious to be a senator, sometimes more so than a governor, right?
Yeah.
The senator has so much access to information, so much access to, foreign countries, and their powers are high. But it's always like that House of Lords, which is usually the more elite, because the people that are able to raise money statewide for
it's the aristocracy.
It is usually the ones that block everything. So and the guy with the Totenkopf tattoo, you know what? He deserves to win. We deserve to have somebody like that, because it's not because of liberals, right? Because we know where they stand. It's because of the straight cowardice from the right. And look, the establishment is dying. And this is them fighting back. This establishment is fighting back. There's a big morph that's coming to the MAGA movement. Well, I guess I'll touch on that at some other point. But there's this big.
But you can now if you want to.
Yeah. I've been saying this for the past couple months. I've seen this, what we're witnessing right now from the right. I've seen this before multiple times. I saw this with the Ron Paul revolution, which is
Yep.
a little bit after I started. I saw this with the Tea Party movement. I saw the Tea Party movement get taken over by the establishment. Give us great people like Marco Rubio that we have as a Secretary of State right now, and and then it convert into the MAGA movement. You know, movements don't stay alive forever. Um, they just kind of transform into something, and I think that it's healthy. It's healthy for
Yeah.
that to happen. You know, the MAGA movement's always going to be there, but it's just going to have a different name.
Agreed. And I think that's something a lot of people don't understand, that yes, the political movement's always moving forward. It's like a wave crashing on a beach. Eventually it does morph into something else, and hopefully it takes the good things with it. But your point with the Tea Party movement is exactly right. Like, that's something that started off extremely strong. Like, I remember a couple of my friends, I would just move to Florida when they had the giant rally in DC. And, a lot of them that attended that, and this was really like the awakening for a lot of people in our generation. And, that unfortunately was co-opted. You had a lot of people that joined it that were really more intent on making money. You had other, undocumented Democrats try to take the reins. And part of that was the lack of organization. That's one thing our side needs to get better at, that you touched on too, the funding, the organization, and the ground pounders, the people actually on the street. But the biggest problem I see right now that we face isn't from the left, like you said. It's these rhinos and that control the spigot, the funding. That we have the House Congressional Campaign Fund and the Senate Campaign Fund, and as we've said ad nauseum on here, these people that are running this want to keep the status quo. They want business as usual in Washington. They want to forget all about the mega movement. They want to forget about putting America first, and they want to go back to the way things used to be. That's not a possibility anymore. Too many people are awake. We're sick and tired of what's going on, but they're going to continue to fund rhinos. We talked about in 2022, they sunk $9 million into Lisa Murkowski's race so she could beat another Republican that was more conservative, Kelly, and sorry, I'm forgetting her last name. They ignored races we could have won in 2022 and 2024. They didn't fight for those, for seats that we could have had, but instead they sent gazillions of dollars to rhinos that will vote with the Uniparty. And right now, the word on the street, I've heard this from multiple people now, so hopefully it isn't true, but the Senate Campaign Fund is going to sink $10 million, maybe more, to try to prevent Ken Paxton from winning, so they can, again, prop up their rhino, keep the makeup of the Senate to where conservatives can't get legislation through, because you'll have these 4 or 5 holdouts on our side that will continuously vote with the Democrats to sabotage. And I don't know how we fix that problem.
Go ahead.
You go.
Okay. I mean, look, in order to fix these problems, let's start with this. You can't win a race by social media alone, right?
Yeah.
And that's what I think a lot of people think that they can do. Look, I've been a campaign manager twice, once successfully. And it takes a lot of work. I'll give you the prime example here in Florida. Look, whether I agree with him on certain points or not is irrelevant. James Fishback.
Oh yeah.
You can't say that James Fishback isn't running a great social campaign. But one thing that I haven't seen from James, that I have seen from the other 2 candidates, is door knockers, is a great fundraising apparatus. Obviously, Byron has a lot of help there from the president and from the GOP. And look, I'm really undecided in this race. I love Jay Collins, which is our current lieutenant governor. He was a Green Beret, lost his leg. He's a doer,
Yes.
And then look, but I know this for a fact. We have a generational governor in Ron DeSantis. And look, his mistake was running against the president. And I get that. People always say, oh, you're a DeSimp. I'm not a DeSimp. I was a Trumper through and through, even though I was in prison during that race. But there's no other governor that even comes close. You can't even say Greg Abbott.
No, he's a right.
Awkward. He's very awkward on camera. But he will pull every lever and push every button to get his agenda across. And those are the people that we should be fighting for. And right now in the Florida race, again, I'm undecided because we have such high expectation with Ron DeSantis. And I just don't think, I love Byron. I love Jay Collins. And I kind of like Fishback. But going back to the original point is that Fishback thinks that he can go to like these IHOPs or like these things and just win. Look, he gets massive crowds. And that's a testament to his power, his cultural power on social media. But I don't know who his I know who his campaign manager is. I can't tell you who his captain down here, his campaign captain down here in South Florida is. I just can't. And that tells me that maybe the next time he will get a better team. He's not going to win this. He's not going to win this. So it takes in order to make that change, you have to want it. You have to work for it. It has to be your life goal to become a representative, either governor, state, federal, whatever it is. You have to give up everything in life except family to run for office. It's a very serious thing. It's not a joke. I don't think he's taking it as a joke. I just think his strategy's off. But he would be doing better. He would be doing a lot better right now. I know that there was another candidate in Ohio that I
Vivek.
Look, I like Vivek. It's not, but I don't know much about him because again, I was in prison when he was running, so I don't know what his platform is. I've seen him say some wild stuff that I don't agree with. But genuinely, I think he's a business guy, and I think he might be as far as socially, he might be the opposite of Ron DeSantis. Very vocal, very charismatic, but like socially awkward. But he might be a doer. He's been successful in business. He might be a successful governor. We don't know. Now, can he win? I don't know. I haven't looked at the numbers. I know Ohio's still in swing territory.
Yeah, and it is better than it was here. We definitely have moved to the right in a lot of instances. But yeah, it's Vivek is somebody I liked more a year ago than I do now because a few of the positions he's taken are a little out of step with where I think most of the base is. Want to get your thoughts here real quick, and then we're going to kind of jump into the main stories we wanted to cover.
Okay.
Anything you want to add to the conversation here?
Oh, me?
Oh,
yes.
Well,
I thought you were looking for something.
Yeah, I thought you...
Yeah, sorry. No, I was setting some stuff up in the background.
Yeah, I mean, if I knew you were going to go on like that, I would have been like, yeah, I'll go first.
Yeah.
Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on
Hey,
you.
look, this mic, I'll sit here all day and I can talk all day.
Nothing wrong with that.
You're going to hear me say this over and over again. I think it's time for Republicans to really stand up and start being forceful about stuff, like start getting stuff done. Republicans to sit in the back most of the time. I mean, look at how many people are in this movement. We could have so much more people involved getting stuff done, exposing the rhinos, exposing everything going wrong within the states, within these politicians, exposing the fraud. In Oregon, no one's exposed any fraud. And journalists and activists and street reporters, they were all jumping on that when Nick was exposing it, And I was just talking about this with someone in Oregon about going into the fraud because no one's done it in Oregon. Guaranteed that money is going back into politician pockets. But this is where Republicans really need to start standing up, because I am not going to do another term like Biden. I am not going to do another, oh, now you could identify as aliens.
Yeah. Yeah, I identified as a...
Shut up.
Yeah, just so you guys know, I identify as a left-handed pansexual leprechaun. But yeah, I mean, the people are sick and tired of this. That when Nick Shirley or others reveal this fraud, Nick Sorter's done a great job. There's a ton of journalists, Katie Davenport, yourself, that have gone around and exposed what's going on in a lot of these cities, but nothing's being done about it. Great. We arrested 22 Somali pirates about a week ago. I don't really care about them. Just deport them, send them back to Somalia. They can try to make Somalia great again, recoup whatever they stole that we can, but otherwise just get them out of here. What I care about are the bureaucrats and politicians that made it possible. I want to know about these 550 whistleblowers that they tried to stamp out in Minnesota. I want to know about the voter fraud, the welfare fraud, the homeless industrial complex, the Medicaid fraud, the hospice fraud in California. I mean, I'm hearing from sources that I think are pretty reliable that in California, we're looking at $200 to $250 billion in fraud just in one state. Minnesota is already over $21 billion. Here in Ohio, we're at $4 billion right now, and that's expected to go up now that they're doing a little bit of an investigation in the state level. Maine, they're at $2 billion. If a state as small as Maine has $2 billion in fraud, then like I said before, I think Rand Paul's estimate of $1.6 trillion in total fraud every year here in the United States through various programs is probably short. There are probably even more than that being stolen right out from under us, and nothing's being done to stop it. We have to get the people that are behind this, that have orchestrated this programs. We're going to jump into some a different story here in a second, but to go back with what you said about Fishback real quick before I lose this thought again. Yeah, it's great that you can get 200 to 500 people to show up at a Taco Bell in 24 hours, but that's not what's going to get ballots in the ballot box for you. You have to actually have infrastructure. You have to have door knockers. You have to have boots on the ground that are willing to go out and fight and evangelize your message. Because I do think Fishback is the best candidate that's running down there right now, but I don't think it's realistic that he's going to win. I wish it was different. I wish Byron Donalds hadn't wussed out on eliminating property taxes down there and a few of the other compromises that he's made. Because he's somebody I've always really liked in Congress. He's been a strong fighter and all that, but I don't like seeing people like that suddenly start making compromises that don't make sense. I can understand softening things here and there or allowing for some exceptions, especially as we're moving up to a position like governor in Florida, especially on the heels of somebody like Ron DeSantis that's done such a great job down there. I can understand that. But some of these compromises don't make any sense. It's basically caving to the teachers union, and we need strong fighters that are willing to stand up to people like that, even ones that have a megaphone, that have a loud voice, that the media, projects them having more power than they actually do.
Look, I won't be sad if any of the three win.
Yeah, well, that's the good
news. I won't
news.
Be sad about it. I won't be sad about it. I think they're going to do good.
Yeah, no, I think they will too. Same with Vivek. There's some things he said I'm not real happy about. Like, I don't really like this unlimited visa program that he's talked about, that we need more. I don't buy that for a minute. Now, I'm not one of these people either, though, that says just eliminate all 1 million or close to 1 million H-1B visas. I think there's 25 to 50,000 of them that we do actually need in a few fields that we are legitimately short. But otherwise, this is a program that's being largely abused. And there has to be some accountability there. You can't reward, really, these companies need to be investigated and fined that are bringing people over on H-1B visas to work as janitors and receptionists, all the other programs like that are way outside the wheelhouse of what this is intended for, and the other ones that are getting away with paying below market wages, bringing people over from India or wherever else, paying them 2/3, even half what they pay an American to do the same job, and then they're laughing all the way to the bank. Every one of those, and again, I don't have anything against the people here, but you got to go home. We can't use programs to depress wages just to make millionaires and billionaires happy by reducing their salary costs. The salaries are what they are because that's what the job entails. If you want somebody that's quality, you got to pay what they're worth, not import somebody to depress wages. Not to mention, it's modern day slavery. You're basically taking advantage of people that are desperate to be here, and paying them far under their value. So again, all these things need to be dealt with, but we're not going to get immense change overnight. But let's jump into this. DOJ launches investigation into Portland Antifa assault on Katie Davenport. So how many times has she been assaulted over there now?
Oh gosh,
countless.
Yeah,
and Katie's done an amazing job on the ground wherever she goes. And it's crazy. Well, looking at it through just a realistic lens, I understand why they want to assault Katie. It's the effective ones that usually get assaulted.
Yeah,
or attempted to get assaulted.
Yeah. I mean, I I was like close to Katie. Like whenever we were out covering the Portland ICE facility, we were always close, but we always spread out and got our own footage, right? So Katie is actually one of the people that brought me out to Portland ICE facility because I saw the attacks happening to her, the bear mace being sprayed, them being chased down, them being attacked. And so I wanted to go support the ICE agents and support them. But then I found myself digging into this as well because what I'm seeing is not what I want for my future. It's
Yeah.
not what I think is normal. When did we get to a point that this is fucking normal? Sorry.
You're fine.
It's the military side of me. But Katie is one of the nicest ones out there. She does not have conversations. I mean, she does from time to time, but she's always sweet. She's one of the nicest, maybe the nicest person out there where
Yeah.
like, I'll be blunt if I'm in a conversation. I am nice, calm, and I usually ignore stuff, but Katie is one of the nicest out there. The fact that she's getting attacked, I mean, she was hit with a flagpole, she was bear maced, she was chased down. I mean, that they threw a rock at her face. And
Yeah.
so they do this, they target the women. And I got I have like a mentor in this movement, Chad Caton, and he sometimes yells at us if he doesn't know where we're going. We end up somewhere and he's like, "What were you doing there?" Because they do target the females to get to the men. You
Of
know,
course.
it's they have a strategy, and even though we know Antifa and the left to be dumb and stupid and idiotic, you know, they have their strategies and they work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is another spot where I'm going to say Republicans need to start being forceful. I think we're going to see a summer love part 2 in Oregon again. Honestly, I'm fired up about all these attacks happening. I mean, not a lot of people saw these videos, but there were 2 Christian men out there that
Hmm.
were getting liquid poured on them, paint poured on them, thrown at them, chucked at them.
Say liquid
And
porn. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
poured. Did I say?
Glad we could clear that up.
I just wanted a clarity there.
But and all they do down there is they talk about the gospel. They have good conversations. They're sweet. They just stood there while they threw all the stuff on them.
Yeah.
And that really sickened to me. That really sickened me to my stomach. Sorry. But then there's this woman out there, older woman, who goes out and cleans the graffiti that Antifa does. Well, she
Yeah.
got hit in the head with one of those hard flasks and she had to go get stitches. But this stuff isn't shown because these are not big accounts. And so I try to share them, but there's only so much when the algorithm is, yeah.
Yeah.
But all these attacks are happening, and I honestly I think we're gonna see a summer of love part 2.
Oh, we're definitely
I
going to see a
honestly
summer of love part 2.
I'm for it. Honestly, I mean I got in that altercation. I'm ready to throw some more of them around. And I'm not a violent one. Shut up. Don't even say anything.
Shut up.
Don't
I'm gonna shut
don't even
up.
say anything.
I
I'm
didn't
not
say
the
nothing.
violent one. But I'm ready to stand my ground. Like I
Yeah.
did before, I'm ready for a huge group of us to come out and stand our ground because I'm done with it.
Yeah, well, and you should, because, I see multiple problems here. One is even with our media, they don't want to cover this stuff, showing the left acting violently, but the same wimps, I mean, they were all crying about having to sign a form at the Pentagon. Like that was oppression to them, having to promise not to unveil secrets or release information that could be harmful to our military or intelligence operations or others. That they treated like, that we were going to start burning witches again or something. They act like this is the worst thing that could possibly happen. We're crushing their freedom. We're eliminating the freedom of the press. But then you have people like you and others that are out there actually reporting on the ground. They ignore that. They ignore all the abuses. And part of the problem is, too, it's weaponized law enforcement. That's the big problem that I see in Chicago and Portland and all these blue cities and blue states where what was it, Nick Sorter? They were trying to charge him with crimes after being assaulted. They think they did the same thing to Katie. They've done this to numerous other people. The police literally hung up on Sorter when he was getting mobbed at his hotel and trying to explain to him his location or that he needed to get out of there. They hung up. We had the same thing with Terry Newsom. He went in to the ICE Center in Chicago, and sorry, I'm forgetting the lady's name. She's a local activist. She goes out there and documents a lot of what Antifa is doing. She was assaulted. It's on video. They were punching in their face. They tore a chunk of her scalp off with her hair. Terry gets there right after this happened. She's already walking back towards where they park. She's bleeding all over the place. He walked her to a police car. They rolled up the window and drove away when they were trying to make a report about it. And there has to be some accountability there. That when you're telling the police not to intervene, don't arrest Antifa, these are our guys, and you're letting them get away with physical assaults and violations of people's rights. I mean, this is war right now, and that's what we have to start treating it as, but we also need actual justice. We need accountability for, everybody knows it's the mayors, it's the governors, it's these blue state city councils that are instructing the police to respond this way. And our media, again, has no credibility because they refuse to cover any of these type of things honestly.
I think, look, I'll give you the example. And look, I'm not advocating for anything he's done. I'm not even going to mention his name. I'm just going to say the situation in Minnesota. We saw attacks on journalists nonstop, with no police action whatsoever. Right. And then you had somebody that came and broke some ice, it broke some ice blocks, and like they just hit him with like a hate crime enhancement for knocking over ice blocks. And look, in a vacuum, again, I'm being very careful here. In a vacuum, like that's wrong. It's wrong. Period. Yes. There's no ifs, ands, or maybes about it. Right. And like these are unpopular cases sometimes because of the characters that are in there. But I will tell you, look, I've been one of the main proponents against the DOJ since I got pardoned. Right.
Yeah.
I railed against Bondi. I got a lot of crap for it. Right. They're like, oh, you're going against the administration if you go after Bondi. No, you're not. And you know what? I was proven right.
Exactly.
I was proven right because I turned on Bondi in February when, forget about the inaction of not doing anything. She took a step to agree with the Biden administration in our criminal case to say, hey, everything was nice and peachy. And she did the same thing in our civil case. And once that happened, it's not, oh, we got to wait. We got to have patience. I'm patient. It's not about patience there. It's about they took an action against the administration and what people voted for. Because I can't even say I voted because I was in prison for a crime that I didn't commit. And look, but I will tell you, like recently, I was a big proponent against Todd Blanche, because the deputy director, deputy attorney general, is the person who actually runs the DOJ, right? Yeah. So when I turned on Bondi, I kind of turned on Blanche at the same time, and I got even more vocal. I'm not going to say I'm not happy in this past month that I've seen like some of these cases starting to move forward. We're starting to see like some action from the DOJ. I'm very happy with Harmeet Dillon, right? Yeah. Which is usually at the front lines of like these civil rights violations and these civil actions. We just saw her take action against Colorado for their unconstitutional AR ban. She's usually at the lead of these. I don't know if she has anything to do with the Katie case out of Oregon. But she had a lot to do with the Savannah Hernandez case.
Yes,
she
got to forget her.
And hers was like blatant, and you could see it from multiple angles. And look, I have to applaud. I hate doing this. It makes me cringe. But I gotta give it to the DOJ here. The indictment against the SPLC. Now we're seeing new details come out of this SPLC that makes it even more damning. And look, I hate doing it. I really do. It makes my skin crawl because I'm like advocate. I'm like, oh man, the DOJ that put me in prison is doing good, And look, I have to give it to them.
Okay, but this is where my frustration is we deemed Antifa as domestic terrorists. So when are those arrests going to start? I mean, we got one, from what I've seen, we got one arrested.
Well, you got out in Oregon, but at least there's
No,
5 arrested
that
in Texas.
federal.
Yeah, in federal court in Texas.
Remember that Antifa that got arrested a while ago? Gosh, I
Travis?
forgot. No, not Travis.
Well, Travis
He
got
federally got arrested. Like agents went in, got him out of his apartment.
Yeah, I
I think
heard
in
about that.
Chicago.
Possibly.
I know there have been a few.
But
there's been a few, and some of them
yeah.
have that
Well,
domestic
Travis
terrorist.
that case is still going on.
Yeah.
But we deem them as domestic terrorists. You see, and I actually just commented on this. I made a post last night because now we have Antifa just doing Antifa things. They're doxing us patriots. They went to the extent of finding my ex-husband last night. And so I made a comment and I'm like, these people are deemed as domestic terrorists, right? So why are
Yeah.
they not getting arrested? This girl is literally getting arrested with a Antifa shirt on. This is Antifa. Make a example out of them, like they made a example, and this Antifa is a veteran. So make example out of her, like you made an example out of Joe Biggs and Zach Real. They lost
Yeah.
their fucking benefits.
Yeah.
Do the same to them. Start doing the same to them. And that's where I'm getting frustrated.
F-bomb
Yeah.
counter number 2.
I'm sorry. I thought Enrique was gonna have a problem with this. It's me.
I usually have a problem. It's like I'm
You're
itching right now to
projecting.
just drop F-bombs just nonstop.
I'm sorry. It's the military
I'll do it in the
out
green
of me.
room.
I'm gonna start like snapping my hair tie or something.
You're
But,
fine. Trust me.
This is where I'm getting mad because
Yeah.
it's I understand that there's so much going on. But start going after the little things as well. This stuff is not
Yes.
okay. They're deemed as domestic terrorists. Let's start doing
Well,
something about it.
And enforcement will send the right message. I've been screaming this from the rafters since we had the Tesla terrorism. Like, if you want these people to stop, you got to start making arrests. Otherwise, you're sending them a message that it's permissible. And that's what's been going on in Chicago and other places. Sorry, what was that?
That's a slur to us Cubans. I just heard you say rafters.
Sorry.
That's a slur to us Cubans.
Don't say sorry to him. He doesn't care. I always.
I wasn't going to say sorry, but I was going to say, I was trying to hit my quota of offending at least one racial group a day.
Thank you. Thank you for being Cubans. We take it in stride.
Oh,
Yeah.
if you really want to offend him, just eat pizza with your hands.
You don't eat Cuban pizza. Cuban pizza, you don't eat with your hands. Let's just start there. You're ready. My blood's boiling right now that you just said that.
Well, I'll add one more in. With the current state of things in Cuba right now, you probably can't even get pizza down there.
No, you definitely can't get Cuban pizza is just a United States thing. It's kind of like the
Oh yeah. I used to live in Kissimmee. I've had it plenty of times. There's a great pizza place near downtown there. Oh man, I wish I could remember the name of it. That was a Cuban pizza place.
Probably Ray's.
Could be. I can't quite remember. They were near downtown. Hopefully they're still there.
I can't wait till we just Maduro Diaz Canel. And I'm hoping that this Nick Shirley thing, he's going to be good. I think the Cuban government knows that they can't touch this guy, right? I hope the Cuban government knows that if anything happens to them, there's going to be a whirlybird right over the dictator's palace. And it's going to take no longer than 5 minutes to extract both of them and indict them in the Southern District of New York.
I mean, not only that, but look at how many people have became close with Nick Shirley stepping into this movement. I mean, you got Chad Caton. Chad looks at so many of us like his own kids. If I was to get hurt in Portland, he'd come running over there. Last time they even put his face on a poster, he came running over there. As soon as you do something with Nick Shirley, you're going to get so many people who grew close to him in this movement out there with him. You're not, once you mess with one of them, and we've seen it with Charlie Kirk, once you mess with one of them, you mess with all of them.
Nick Shirley might be the Lexington moment for Cuba.
Yeah.
If they F around. If they F around, it's going to be the Lexington moment for Cuba.
Oh, I agree. It's going to put a target on their back like they haven't seen since the 60s. They're going to be persona non grata, priority number one. But yeah, just
And we're
to get
going
the
to call
headline
it
out.
South Florida. We're not going to call it Cuba. We're going to call it South Florida.
Wait,
Yeah,
could you even
South Florida.
Could you? I know you're Cuban, but could you even go to Cuba right now?
Here, I'll say it on this show. We're about to find out.
Yeah, there you go. Well, visibly shaken, Nick Shirley makes insurance video while hiding in Havana hotel room from Cuban intelligence agents in the lobby. They're literally trying to kidnap me. This is probably the most dangerous situation I've ever been in my life right now. And as I said earlier, I have not seen an update. Like, this story came out yesterday, right as we were getting on air. We mentioned it then. I kind of assumed we would have some sort of update within the next few hours, but I checked back all day. And again, this morning, more people are talking about it now. But I don't know if he's made it out yet. Hopefully he has. And hopefully the Cuban government isn't dumb enough to actually imprison this guy. Because like you said, if they want to ensure that we have a regime change there, this is how you do it. And I would love to see the helicopters down there with the discombobulator again. Because we all saw how well this worked for Maduro, and how the Cuban security forces fared against Delta Force and whoever else is the Night Stalkers and whoever else was on that raid. So I don't expect them to fare much better in Havana, especially not when the people have already burned down the Communist Party headquarters there. They're going to kind of have our back. They are sick and tired of this, just like they are in Venezuela, in Iran, and other places. They are tired of the oppression. They want freedom. They want the same access to the same things that you and I have. And again, they've been a thorn in our side since the 60s. It's time for a change.
And I'm hoping those Green Berets do a poly market bet. Every single one, I hope they do a poly market bet on themselves.
Yeah.
I think
that's enough. Go ahead.
Good.
No, you go ahead first.
I think Nick made it out because I saw him replying on Twitter. And in
Okay,
replies,
good.
not post. I think he made it out, but he might have people to post on his Twitter. So I think he made it out just because he's replying. So I'm
Well, that's
hoping-
good.
I sent him a message just because, like, I have done a few things with Nick, alongside Nick. So, like I said, a lot of us grew to him in this movement. A lot of us, once you go through the stuff that Antifa puts you through together, it's just, you become stuck together.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it's a bond, because you've all had the bravery to stand against them, to try to report what's actually happening on the ground, expose them for who they are, and then been targeted by them. Same with numerous other people I know. So you grow close to the people that are in that circle that are suffering the same abuse, the same multi-tiered justice system, because you're all in the same boat. And again, I go back to this: the failures of our media. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say exactly, like, Antifa and the left hate us so bad. Anyone who makes a change here, Antifa and us hate us. I'm convinced that our relationship is like the most hated and most loved beyond the Patriots, most hated with Antifa. Because if you go on Blue Sky, him and I are just, you look up us and like just so much talk, just targeting, oh, they're in a relationship. So I keep on joking around with him. I'm like, oh, when we get married, let's just do it in DC, where we're going to have a bunch of counter protesters getting yelled at.
Yes.
And, literal war with Antifa. And so I keep on joking with him. It might happen. It might not.
Tear gas makes me horny.
Yeah, well, that's hilarious. That sounds like something you may want to see a doctor for. But no, well, this is what you guys need to do. You need to hand out tear gas and baseball bats in the goodie bags for the wedding, and not let Antifa know until it's too late. And I would love to see the mainstream media crying about how all their transgender blue-haired moon bats got beat senseless at your wedding, and how this is the worst thing to happen in the U.S. since Pearl Harbor.
Bring back the paintball guns.
Oh yeah.
I remember those days.
the pepper ball guns and flashbangs.
Pepper ball guns.
I can't say one way or another if I was involved. Actually, I could say it's past the statute of limitations.
Well, there you go. Yeah. Well, if we can't arrest Fauci for anything, certainly you should get the same measure of freedom.
Yeah. Well, you know what? they just arrested one of his advisors.
Yeah.
Maybe they're not too far from him, but I know the statute of limitations is coming up this week. Let's see how that works. I don't think that they could extend it. I know there's a conspiracy
Yeah.
involved, so that's the only way that you could extend one of these cases. But let's see what happens.
Well, the other thing I've heard is, there's no statute of limitations on murder, but I also don't see people having enough testicular fortitude to go that route. Not to mention, we got to get rid of the pardons first. And this is, Harmeet Dillon, as you said earlier, she's done a lot of good things, especially through the Civil Rights Division. This is how she's forced compliance from local law enforcement in a number of these cases where journalists have been assaulted. But she is the one also that dropped the pardon investigation without even so much as a statement. We were going to go after all these Biden fake pardons. We even had evidence that Kamala Harris had ordered some of them. We know Biden didn't sign any of them except for Hunter's. As renowned Ukrainian energy expert and first crackhead Hunter Biden. That's the only pardon he actually signed. All the rest of them were with the auto pen. But I guess we're not going to pursue that.
I get, maybe it's a controversial take. Look, I don't think any president, any politician should use any of their powers for personal gain.
Yeah.
But I also understand that pardon of his son specifically.
I do agree with you there. The rest of them, not so much.
Yeah, on a personal level, regardless of whatever you think of Hunter or Biden, because I think the worst of both. It's a father and son. And
yes,
I can't fault him for that. The fact is that you have to do something. Like if you have the ability to help your son, you do it no matter what, right? Even if it's wrong. And you could say, hey, look, it's wrong that he did it. And maybe he shouldn't have been a president because of that. There's millions of other reasons.
Yeah.
But
I can think of a few.
Yeah, I don't fault him for that. There's so many other things that you can, millions of things that you could crap on Joe Biden for and Hunter Biden for. But to me, that's not one.
No, I do agree with you there, because I do think, regardless, even though he said he wasn't going to do it, it was happening. Everybody knew it. And again, it is his son. My issue is the other pardons. And also, with Hunter, why not use this to our advantage? The same thing I've been saying about Fauci. Again, if Congress had any testicles whatsoever, they would have drugged both of them and Adam Schiff and other people in front of Congress and forced them to testify. Because since they already have immunity, they can't invoke their Fifth Amendment rights not to testify, not to self-incriminate. So you can put them on the stand and they have to answer your questions. No ways out, no anything. If they lie or refuse to, then guess what? The pardon doesn't cover that. It's a separate charge. But to get to one of our other stories, well, we won't have time to get to it. But, Congress is refusing to do that. This is where this whole thing came up with the 5 days left to charge Fauci. They sent a criminal referral over back in, it was either June or July, I forget which, for 19 people from Congress for lying to Congress. And this is Christopher Wray, it's Fauci, it's everybody we've been talking about. It's the deep state operatives. But the DOJ has not moved forward on any of it. And that's why a lot of us are so just infuriated with how that's gone.
So I refer to them because they say I'm a criminal, but I refer to Adam Schiff and Raskin as criminally pardoned senator and criminally pardoned congressman, because that's what they are.
Yeah.
Right. So if they consider me a criminally pardoned insurrectionist, that's exactly what they are.
Dude, I'm taking that.
Yeah, that's exactly. You can't. So in our case, obviously there was a criminal case. Obviously it was persecution. In their case, we can't even know, because they're pardoned, right?
Yeah.
So we can't even charge them. That's why like you said, getting to these pardons is so essential to getting justice, right? And in that justice, that's what I consider to be retribution, because that's what justice is. Justice is retribution and retaliation for the things that they did during that time. And they literally tried forcefully, by use of force, to foment an insurrection in this country, a failed insurrection. Like all these words should be very familiar to them because that's what they accused me and 1,575 others um,
Yeah.
with. So yeah, I don't know the dynamics of the pardon investigation. But I
Yeah.
will tell you that look, if it was done by an auto pen, I think that's not constitutionally sound. I think that those pardons are not valid.
Yeah.
And look, here's an easy one for the DOJ. Representative Luna out of the great state of Florida. Um,
Mm-hmm.
she criminally referred Merrick Garland during
Mm-hmm.
Merrick Garland's tenure, right? So he had to choose to investigate himself or indict himself for criminal contempt of Congress, right?
Mm-hmm.
Something that we saw Steve Bannon and Peter Navarro do 3 months in prison for.
Yep.
That referral is still accessible to the DOJ, right?
Mm-hmm.
They can still go back. The statute of limitations is not over on that. Uh, can I at least see Merrick Garland do 90 days in prison? Can I at
Yeah.
least see that? And at least that's some form of indication that could start. I'll tell you, look, I'm realistic. Um, there's nothing that's going to appease me, right? No,
Yeah.
no amount of arrests from the deep state, and that's me coming from a personal bias. I will never be satisfied when you've
Yeah.
been when you sit in when you sit in solitary confinement for 3 years, and uh, there there's no way to fix what happened to me. And
Yeah.
another example that just happened in the news, I think like 2 days ago, and it enraged me. It made my day. It soured my day completely. I was an
Yeah.
angry person for a full 24 hours when I heard Judge Faruqi apologize to
Yes.
this assassin, right?
Yeah.
Because that's what he is. It's not people are like, oh, it's not an assassin because he wasn't successful. It doesn't matter. Like a hacker, even if he's bad, you still consider him a hacker. It's the same thing with an
Yeah.
assassin. Um, like he was complaining about 5-point harnesses. Dude, I was in 5-point harnesses almost my entire time. If I moved out of my cell, I was in 5-point harness. I was on a 5-point harness for 26 straight hours with box cuffs while I was in transit from DC to Louisiana. Okay. 26 hours. The Geneva Convention says that you're not supposed to put an inmate in box cuffs for more than 4 hours. I was in it for 26 hours straight. So this guy is just I want to say the P word, but
Yeah.
that's what he is, right?
Yeah.
Oh, the 5-point harness. He was suicidal, right?
Yeah.
Because he was attempting to do a murder suicide. He thought he wasn't coming back. That is the definition. The raw definition of suicide
Yeah.
is going somewhere with the knowledge that you are not coming back because you're going to get shot. That is suicide. You either,
Yeah.
if you don't do it, then you're not suicidal. If you attempt it, you're suicidal. So you should be put in the shoe until trial.
Yep.
And after trial, then take a look at where he's at. And maybe we put him in general population, which he won't last long in general population. But that's a
Yeah.
whole other ballgame.
Just to
Yeah.
make a comment on this guy was a teacher. You look at, and I've been screaming this so much lately. You look at Oregon right now, and I'm sure this is happening. I'm hearing it happen in other states. The teachers, the schools, our elementary schools, our middle schools, our high schools, involving kids that don't know anything about politics. You know,
Yeah.
I went down to a school in Oregon because my best friend's son came home, and we're all like a tight family. Like, and Enrique is like the uncle, I'm like the aunt. And, you know, we're all the tight family
Sure.
friend. And so he comes home and he's like, my teacher, my trans teacher, was talking
Oh my
about the
God.
Proud Boys today. Yeah. And then we all snap our heads so quick, but we're all like, what did they say? Because we know it's nothing good. And so,
Oh.
so her son was like, she or he, I don't know, said
It,
that
it.
the Proud Boys, it's this mentally
Yeah.
deranged, it's
Mm-hmm.
said that the Proud Boys are trying to take away power from the black people. And
You've
you're
got
like,
to be
what
shitting
color
me.
is your skin tone?
Oh no, I gotta change the tone on the lights here so I can look a little bit more white, so I won't be as oppressed as I am.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Anyway, so beyond other stuff, and this is not in the books. You know, the Proud Boys are not in the books.
Yeah,
So I marched my little happy feet down there because, like, obviously Enrique and I have been together for a while. I
sure.
marched my little happy feet down there.
Mhm.
And I start going off, and you step into the school, and they don't even have control of the kids. Like, apparently, a fight broke out, and so the kids were running around like wild animals. You know, they had no control there. And so I'm talking with the vice principal, and I'm like, I hear some shit like this again. I'm gonna come back down here. A couple months later, something was thrown at the head, and so I'm just gonna make this really quick. Something was thrown at her son's head. So I marched down there. She was working at the time. I'm like the aunt. I marched down there to go get him from school. Huge goose egg on his head. And I asked to talk to someone. They didn't even have anyone up front to talk to me. So I asked to talk to someone. The principal comes in, hasn't talked to the kids yet, doesn't know anything. And while I'm talking about my last experience there while I was making sure he was okay and everything. But I was talking about the last experience there. And he's like, I would be careful about calling kids wild animals. And I tilt my head and I'm like, I let it go. And then I'm like, I mentioned the trans teacher, but I said it in a way I'm like, a male thinking they could be a female thinking they could be a male type of teacher here. And then he goes, I would be careful identifying others' genders. And I go, it's my first amendment right to
Oh,
say whatever the heck I want to say. So you're not going to sit here and tell me what I should be careful about saying. You want to fill people's heads full of poison? Do not fill these kids' heads full of poison.
Heck
You're
yeah.
not
yeah,
going to do that. You're not going to tell me to that I can't do my first amendment right, you know. And I walked off.
That's heckin' based.
yeah. Well, you're exactly right. And, this is something I've been really beating the drum on for a while here too. That our schools are also weaponized. They
Mhm.
are no longer about education. It is about indoctrination. That is it. That they want to use your kids against you. They're trying to divide parents. I mean, they sent them out. We just had this May Day thing last
Yeah.
Friday where they sent kids out to protest against ICE and against evil Orange Hitler. And in some states, they're even giving them grades on it if they showed up. In Illinois, they were spending taxpayer dollars to bus students out to anti-ICE protests, put them in harm's way. These teachers all need to go. We need to remove
Washington,
all these.
Oregon.
Yeah. Oh, a whole country. Any of them that have this mentality, they need to go. If they're there to indoctrinate, not educate, sorry, you're in the wrong profession. And as I've said before, when we used to burn witches at the stake, we had a lot fewer witches. And I think we need to look back at that mentality. Do we really want these people around our kids at all? Because if they're there just to poison them, they got to go. We got to get back to actually, our kids keep getting dumber and dumber. I know you guys probably saw that video out of, I think it was Baltimore over the last couple of days. It's gone viral where they're asking them just to read off a card in high school and they can't do it. And this is a charter school in Illinois and one of the districts in Chicago. And sorry, I'm forgetting which one. You only have 3% of fourth graders able to read at grade level, but you're going to send them out into the battlefield for the left, weaponize them, put them in harm's way to try to push a political agenda. And sorry, guys, we actually are already out of time. I want to give you guys a chance. Enrique, we'll go to you first. Any words of wisdom you want to share with our audience here before we wrap up?
Look, I always say, look, I try to transition out of the J6 stuff so I won't have to continue talking about it.
You're forever going to talk about it.
But I think that, and look, to J6ers, I think that they should do the same thing. We need to start focusing on winning these midterms, which I'm pretty black pilled on, to be honest with you.
Yeah, you and me both.
I mean, DeSantis has done more to win the midterms than Congress has here.
Yeah,
here in the state.
Dude.
But I will tell you, look, if my story, I think is important, right? I think as somebody that wasn't there, as somebody that got the longest sentence, I'm the example
Mm-hmm.
For all Americans of what a liberal utopia is going to look like if they take back power, and God forbid they get power again.
Yeah.
I while I was in prison, I wrote 13 composition books about my story. I've compiled it into one book. I'm currently in the editing stage, but I do have it up for pre-sale. You could go to
Awesome.
tariobook.com. You see how my name is spelled down here. I know you gringos are hard to spell Enrique, so I did Tario.
I think I
Yeah,
just
yeah,
rolled my
that's
eyes so
hilarious.
hard I checked out my own ass.
Yeah. So tariobook.com, I'm putting it together. It's part memoir, part guide. Um, and I think you guys rather enjoy it. Not because of ego, right? I didn't
Yeah.
write it out of ego. I wrote it like a warning. Because
Well,
that's what we saw for
and
4
based on
years.
your
We're gonna see a lot worse.
Exactly. Your personal experience should be a warning to others. You know, the other owner here at Ex American News, Annie just released her book, and that's because, she grew up in Iran. She was literally sold into slavery at 13, was able to escape. And again, it needs to be a warning to the world. Her experience, I mean, again, unrelated story, but, people that have that experience need to be able to vocalize it. And, you guys shouldn't forget about or necessarily move past everything with January 6th. It needs to be a warning. Like, I think most of the patriots that were there, that actually had the courage to go to DC on January 6th, like, there should be statues dedicated to them, because these people actually understand the Constitution, they understand America, and they were willing to put their life on the line, because make no mistake, that's really what was happening down there. Their well-being on the line at the very least. And again, we need to celebrate our patriots and shame our losers.
I mean, I wouldn't mind I said it's not about ego, but I wouldn't mind a giant bronze statue of this hunk right here.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
We'll see what we can do.
They're gonna clip that.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, everything. It's always twisted. And right side rebel, any words of wisdom before we leave here?
I love him, but he's a pain in the ass. I honestly
I have a comment, but I'm just gonna shut up.
honestly, I think we need to be screaming from the rooftops right now. Republicans need to start standing up. They need to start going out. They need to get involved. This is not the country that I got out of the military and I wanted to see. This is not the country that I felt that I put on a uniform for and gave up my freedom for, because I'm a veteran myself. I think whether it's getting involved, setting the schools back to order, not getting politics involved in the schools, not poisoning our kids, let the kids be kids. Really get out, expose these rhinos, expose how these Democrats are running these states, expose Antifa, get Antifa locked up, because these Antifa people, these protesters, they're not people anymore. They're mentally ill. If you go look at Caitlin's video that she just released, these people are calling for deaths of Americans in our own country.
Yes.
They will be happy if we're dead. And this is why we need to start standing up and start locking people up. Open up the insane asylums again, And Republicans need to start coming out. They need to start showing up. Stand up and stand by.
Well said. And you're exactly right. I'll end on this. We've said this ad nauseum. Journalists, activists, people, podcasters. There's only so much people like us can do. At the end of the day, we need everybody that's in the audience to get involved. All of us are going to have to make sacrifices. Maybe that means you give up your Saturday off and you go knock doors for a good candidate or make phone calls or whatever. Not everybody can afford financial contributions, but everybody has something that they can do. Even if you're, permanently disabled and you can't leave your house, you can still pick up a phone, you can still make calls for a candidate, you can still do something. Be useful. All of us are going to have to make sacrifices. We want to save this country. And if we don't, if we're too lazy, we're too apathetic, we'd rather go play golf on the weekends with our friends. Well, when the U.S. falls apart and we sink under the veil of tyranny, you'll be the reason why. It won't be because of other brave fighters that went out there and did their part. Because even if we lose, we go out there and do our part. We still at least gave it our all. But there's too many people that just want to be keyboard warriors, and that is not enough anymore. We have to get involved. We want to save this country. It's going to take all of us. But guys, I want to thank you both for joining me today. You're obviously welcome back anytime you want to come back on. And thank you both for all the sacrifices that you made. To our audience, thank you for being here today. Please like, share, and subscribe. Help us to grow so we can bring more people the news the mainstream media doesn't want you to hear. And I'll be back tomorrow.